Okay, hello and good morning. Welcome back. Let's take a look here. What we're doing here is preparing for your test, and your test is tomorrow online. If you need a hard copy, let me know, and I'll make that up for you. All right, let's take a look here. I'll leave it online from tomorrow through Sunday. So this one right here says reduce, so what you have to do is factor. So for number one, you're going to try to factor the top part and hope you get a t minus 8. That's the goal. Okay? We want to try to reduce this. We know t times t is t squared. 4 times 8 is going to give you 32. And if you subtract these, you get 4, which is the middle term. So we want to do 4 times 8. And since the middle one is a minus, you want the minus with the big one and a plus here. If you had a plus here, that should tip you off that it's close, and you probably have your signs wrong, okay? Remember the chart. A plus and a plus will give you 2 pluses. A minus and a plus will give you 2 minuses. Plus and a minus and a minus and a minus will give you a plus and a minus. For these, you would have to subtract, and that's what we have here. We have a minus and a minus, so one of them had to be a plus and a minus. This cancels, so on your test, the answer would be t plus 4. Okay, so again, you have to be able to factor. This one right here on number 5, this is on your practice test today. This is y plus 4 over y plus 5, and then it's times. And you're going to flip this over, so the y plus 1, and you might want to put a dot here so it doesn't look like an x. So put the y plus 1 here, and then at the top, you want to factor that as y. A plus and a plus is going to be 2 pluses. So you're going to take the 30, and you're looking for a combination that's going to add to give you 11, and that should be 6 and 5. Okay, so put a 6 here and a 5 here. When you do that, remember, as long as you're multiplying, you can reduce any top with any bottom. So this one cancels out. And I think that's all that cancels out. So your final answer will be y plus 4 times y plus 6. Now you might have to go ahead and use FOIL on this, but it's a multiple choice question. So if you have to, then do FOIL. All right? But once you do FOIL, you can't factor it anymore because we already have it factored. All right. There is one more right here, which is some basic math here. So you want to go ahead and find your least common denominator when you add or subtract, and here we're subtracting. So you want to put the 7 over here. I'm going to use a different color so you see that. So put the 7 over here, and then put the 4 over here. And so what you're going to have is 4 times 7. Your denominator is going to be 28. All right, so now we have the same denominator. We have 63 minus 1 times 4 is 4. I guess that's going to be 59 over 28. And you have to try to reduce it, but I don't think you can. And there it is, okay? And remember to mark on your bell work real big that this is week 6-3, and I'll pick up your bell work in week 9 just like I always do. All right, copy down these two on a new sheet of paper. This is number 18 and 19. And the way you're going to work this is you're trying to find solutions here. So what you want to do, since it's an equation, see the equal sign? You want to get it equal to 0. So what you want to do is put 0 here and put a minus 2 on both sides. Now what's going to happen is you're going to end up with 6p minus 5p. Well, that's going to be 1p. You don't have to put the 1 in front. And then a negative 2 and a negative 8 is going to be a negative 10. All right, so this is what you get when you get it equal to 0. And so all you do now is solve this for p, and you got your answer. So you want to add 10 to both sides. So p is equal to 10. That is called a solution. Now, if this was a denominator, then 10 would not be a solution, okay? But this is not a denominator. All right, let's move on. This one right here, you want to factor it and set it equal to 0. Well, what they have is a c in common. So take a c out, and you're left with c minus 10 is equal to 0. This is a factor, and this is a factor. So you want to set each factor equal to 0. So the first one is c is equal to 0. That is a solution. The next one is c minus 10 is equal to 0. You want to add 10 to both sides, and you get c is equal to 10, and you're done. And there it is, and that's how you do it. All right, any questions on what we did? All right, if it's an equal sign, you have to get it equal to 0 and then factor it and then set each factor equal to 0. And today, you have your practice test, so we're going to go ahead and work these. Now, we already worked number 1. We're going to go ahead and work number 2, so pay attention now, okay? And so your test is going to look just like this, but the numbers are going to be different. So for number 2, you want to factor this top one. You want plus and a minus. That's going to be z something and z something else. One's got to be a plus and a minus. So put a 1 and a 7 because that subtracts to give you 6. You want the plus with the bigger one and the minus there. And you can see that these cancel out right here. So if you had a negative, you would know that maybe you got a negative problem there. Maybe your negative is in the wrong side. All right, let's take a look at this one. Same thing. You're going to go ahead and factor this. So you're going to have p times p is p squared. You want to get 7 and 5 to get 2. So 7 and 5. The middle one you want to be a plus, so you want a plus with the bigger one. And down here you got p minus 5, so this cancels. So if you know how to factor, this is pretty easy. If you still have trouble factoring, then this is going to be much harder. All right, let's take a look here. There are videos on how to factor, and you need to know that for Algebra 2. So this is going to be 1 and 5, and we want to do 2 pluses here, and then the y plus 1 cancels, and you're left with y plus 5. These are actually pretty easy, again, provided you know how to factor. We already did number 5. That was on your bell work, okay? Let's take a look at number 6. Number 6, you're going to do y plus 4 at the top. Leave it alone. But here you're going to switch this up. So it's going to be times and take the reciprocal. So y plus 1 goes down here. Now chances are one of these is going to be one of those down at the bottom. And you're trying to get 11, so it's got to be 6 and 5. 6 and 5 is going to add up to give you the middle term, which is 11. And they're both pluses. So the y plus 5 cancels. And that's all that cancels. So your answer is everything that's not crossed out. So it's y plus 4, y plus 6, and y plus 1. Okay, and again, if you have to multiply it out. Number 6, they didn't multiply it out. Here it is. Now look here, it says y cannot equal these numbers here. Well, it cannot equal a negative 1, but apparently they set each one of these equal to 0, okay? So they did your denominators here. Look at it. So we want to further investigate that. But there's the answer. Okay, let's move on to number 7 and not worry about that right now. So we're going to get q minus 1 over q minus 6 times, flip it over, q plus 3 is going to go on the bottom, and at the top you're going to get q 2 and 6 is what you want to use here. So Q2, Q6, because when you subtract these, you get 4. We want the middle one to be a minus here, so we put it with the bigger, and there's a plus. So the y minus 6 cancels out, and I guess that's all you can do. So your answer is these two and that one. And you can rewrite it if you want. I'm not going to. This one right here is addition. In order to do addition, you got to find the same denominator. So down here, you got to factor this denominator. So this is going to be a 3 and 5, I think it's going to be, because when you subtract, you get a 2. So we want the plus with this one and the minus with this one. And over here, you got an a minus 3 on this denominator. So the least common denominator, they have to look alike. They both have an a minus 3, and that's good. But this one is missing an a plus 5. So we want to multiply this one by a plus 5, top and bottom. When you multiply top and bottom by a plus 5, you now have the least common denominator, which is a minus 3 over a plus 5. So you must have the same denominator when you're doing these. Now let's go ahead and finish this thing up. So it's going to be a squared plus 7a plus 10, and then here you got to distribute that 10, and be careful if that's a minus, but it's not. So it's going to be plus 10a, 10 times a, and 10 times 5 is 50, and that's what you're going to get right there. Now you're going to combine like terms and then check your answers. So there's only one a squared, so it's going to be a squared, 7a, and 10a is going to be 17a. Scratch that out. And then this one and this one is going to be plus 60 all over your least common denominator, which I'm not going to write. So let's check number 8 and see if we got that right. Okay, so apparently you can factor this again. Okay, if you look at their answer here, that means you were able to factor it. Okay, so for number 8, apparently this factors. So let's see if it does factor. So the top part, if it does factor, we know the bottom is a minus 3 and a plus 5. Okay, that's the bottom. So the top must factor. So put an A and an A. We want 60. We want it to add to give me 17. And I'm not sure that we're going to get a 17 out of that. So let me see what might work. So let's just try it. 1 times 60, that's not going to do it. 2 times 30, that's not going to do it. 3 times 20, there it is. 3 and 20 actually gives me 17. Well, actually we're adding, so we don't want that one. Too bad. 4 times 15, what does that give me? That gives me, when you subtract, you get 11. I don't see that this one is actually going to factor. Okay, so let me take a look at my work here and see if there's anything that maybe I missed. So a squared, 7a, and 10. And then this one you're going to go ahead and multiply by the a plus 5, which we said was right. That gives you 10a, and that gives you 50. And that looks right. So that's going to give you a squared, and then the 7a and the 10a is 17a, and that does give you 60. I don't see how this is going to factor, but we're going to keep trying. So put a little mark by that, and we'll come back to that one. Okay, let's keep moving on number 9. Okay, so you're going to get 4 over m plus 9 here, plus 5 over m plus 9 times m minus 9. All right, so here you have the m plus 9, but you're missing the m minus 9 over here. So put m minus 9 on both sides, and let's work that out. So you're going to distribute. So at the top, you're going to get 4m, and then you're going to get minus 36 plus 5 all over your least common denominator. Let's keep moving here. So these two you're going to add up, and so you're going to get 4m minus, I think that's going to be 31 over your least common denominator. And that's what they have here. Now this one right here, I'm going to put a little question mark, but this one did definitely work, number 9. And there it is right there, all over your least common denominator. Let's keep moving. Number 10, let's try this one. This one right here, you got to factor your bottom. That's the difference of two squares, y plus 2 and y minus 2. So your least common denominator is both of these, but you're missing the y minus 2. So you want to multiply this one by y minus 2. And when you do that, you're going to get 7y minus 14 plus 4 all over your least common denominator. And your least common denominator is y plus 2 and y minus 2. So here, when you add this up, you get 7y minus 10. So let's see if that's what they have. And that's what they have right here. Check. All of that works out. Okay, let's keep moving. We get a new sheet of paper. Number 11, you're going to do the same way. All right, you're going to put 2 over n plus 2 plus, and then the bottom's going to factor. That's the difference of two squares. So that's n plus 2, n minus 2. This one's missing the n minus 2. So you want to multiply by n minus 2. That's going to give you 2n minus 4 plus 1 all over your least common denominator, which is all of that. You can rewrite it if you want. This looks like 2n minus 3. And there it is right there, 2n minus 3. We got that one. Number 12 works the same way. So it's 2 over y plus 4 plus 3 over y plus 4 and y minus 4 when you factor the difference of two squares. This one right here is missing the y minus 4. So you want to multiply by y minus 4. So 2y minus 8 plus 3. So you should have 2y minus 5, and let me see what we have here. Make sure we got our pluses right. Okay, so for number 12, they have an 11. I'm going to say they made a couple of mistakes on this, because if you look, this gives you 2y minus 8. That's a negative 8 right here, and then that's a plus 3, and that should be a minus 5. So this one right here, I'm gonna say they missed that one as well. Okay. All right. I mean, look at the work. The work looks right. All right, number 13 we already worked. Let's switch this thing over. It's a little scary when you see some that you think maybe they made a mistake on. This one right here, when you find your least common denominator, you're going to put the 3 over here and the 10 over here, and you're going to multiply. So 3 times 2 is going to give you 6 minus 70 all over 30, which is your least common denominator. And when you do that, you're going to get 64, negative 64 over 30, and I think that reduces. So divide by 2, you're going to get a negative 32 over 15. And I don't think 3 is going to go into 32, so you can't use 3. So for number 14, we get negative 32 over 15. Let's just check it. All right, they have a positive 32, so let me just check my numbers here. Number 14, 10, 70. I see that they're making some mistakes here because that definitely is a negative. All right, let's keep moving. Yeah, I know that doesn't do anything for confidence here, but here you're going to multiply by 9 and multiply this by 4, and you keep moving. So you get 45 over 36. 36, 9 times 4, and then minus 8. And so here, when you subtract, you're going to get 37 over 36. Now, let me make sure that's right. And 3 from 40 is 37. I'm going to go with that. This one right here is an equation, okay? So what you want to do is multiply by 4 to clear your denominator. So these 4's cancel. So you get 4 times 16, I think, is 64, is equal to negative 5 plus z. And then you want to add 5 to both sides and get 69. So 69 is equal to z, and that should be it. Number 17, you want to clear your denominator by multiplying by 2. So you get 8 is equal to negative 7 plus z. And now you want to add 7 to both sides and get 15 is equal to z. And then you're done. We did number 18. This one right here, you want to get it equal to 0 because it's an equation. So x squared plus 3x minus 18 equals 0. And I say minus 18 because when you move it to the other side, it's a plus right now, but it changes to a minus. And now what you want to do is try to factor this. So 3 and 6 is 18. So 3 and 6, and when you subtract 6 minus 3, you get 3. So this is a plus. This is a minus. These are called factors. So you're going to set each one equal to 0. So if I didn't tell you this before, I'm telling you now. So now you want to add 3. So one answer is 3. And then you want to subtract 6. So one answer is a negative 6. And there you go. And there's your practice test. All right, let's move on. Geometry. All right, let's take a look here. There are 4 things that we need to review here. And you need to know all 4 of these right here. So copy these down if you don't already have it. And this is EOC practice or review. Okay, so we're going to slowly review day by day or week by week. So look up here. A perpendicular bisector. We're going to do that one on this one. So perpendicular bisector. Bisector means in half. So you go from this side to this side in the middle, and then you go 90 degrees. This one, you go in the middle, which is here, and then perpendicular. This looks like a right triangle. In the middle here, and then perpendicular. It looks like that hits on it. If it's a right triangle, remember it hits on it. And that one right there is called the circumcenter. Okay, the circumcenter is a circle, or the radius. Let me use a different color. So the circumcenter, the distance to the vertices is actually the radius of a circle that can be circumscribed. Circumscribed means around. Around, okay? So perpendicular bisector is the circumscribed. Remember that. PC. Perpendicular circumscribed. Okay, I think we said something like peanut butter. There was some kind of saying. We might have to find that. All right, this one right here is an angle bisector. So draw your angle. split it, and draw a line in the middle. Draw an angle, split it, draw a line in the middle. Draw an angle, split it, draw a line in the middle. This point right here is called your end center. The end center represents a circle that can be inscribed. So the distance from here to here, and actually that's not right. The distance to the sides is the same, and that's called your radius. So your circle goes around this way, and that's called inscribed. Okay, so we did circumscribed and inscribed. Now on this one right here, there's some properties you need to know, and I need you to write this down. If you have an inscribed quadrilateral, which is a four-sided figure, and inscribed means inside a circle. In a circle. In a circle. Then opposite angles are supplementary. Remember, supplementary means 180. So these are opposite, so they add up to 180. So the way you work this on the ELC is you say 2x plus 4 is equal to 80. And then you work it out. You subtract 4 from both sides, so you get 2x equals 76. Then you divide by 2, and whatever half of that is. Half of 7, that's, well, 2 goes into 7 3 times with 1 left over. I think it's 38. Okay? So opposite angles, like this angle here and this angle, would add up to 180. These two add up to 180. Okay? All right, so that's how you do that. And that's a review. All right, your test today is the, or not your test today, but your practice test. We're going to go ahead and work those in class, so we'll use the video. Have a good morning.